For 100 years, the deal was simple. Trade your physical hours for a paycheck, and you buy yourself financial safety. You earn the degree, clock in at 9, clock out at 5, and trust that the system will take care of the rest of your life. But right now, we are watching that exact economic model collapse in real time. The rules of how human value is actually generated are being entirely rewritten. Clinging to an hourly wage for long-term security is mathematically broken. Every human worker operates under a strict, unbreakable constraint, a 24-hour day. Look at this graph. The flat horizontal line is the hard ceiling on what you can earn capped by hours, while this sharply ascending line is the rising cost of living. The widening gap between earnings and survival costs is the scarcity trap. Because this gap is expanding, trying to bridge it by simply putting in more hours is physically impossible. You run out of time before you run out of bills. The hardest worker in the room is losing the race because their effort is tethered to a finite metric. To escape that math, you need a different equation. You need leverage. Historically, leverage was locked behind immense wealth. You needed armies of human employees or vast industrial capital to scale your output beyond your own two hands. Today, an AI-powered laptop gives a single person that exact same level of global organizational scale. Artificial intelligence doesn't sleep. It operates continuously, never experiences physical burnout, and never asks for a raise. When high-level tools are this accessible, the primary bottleneck shifts from a lack of capital to how effectively an individual can deploy these systems. Directing an AI workforce allows an individual to expand their output far beyond their biological limits. You step out of the role of a worker executing single tasks and into the role of the architect directing a digital workforce. You sit at the center as the architect. Outer nodes handle complex data processing. You spin up 2 more nodes to generate design and marketing campaigns. Finally, you deploy a layer to write software code. All systems operate independently. This interconnected network allows one individual to multiply their output 1,000-fold without adding a single minute to their personal workday. Winning in the modern economy requires abandoning the execution of isolated chores and learning to manage a continuously expanding system. The ultimate destination of this shift is a total migration. We are moving from a society of worker bees to a society of owners. The first actionable step is to construct hyper-niche micro-businesses using AI to handle the heavy lifting of production. Next, you structure those businesses to function as standalone digital assets that generate revenue autonomously, whether you are awake or asleep. Since these tools remove the traditional need for a massive workforce or venture loans, success now depends on how you architect the underlying system. The AI revolution is an active, ongoing construction phase happening right now. You face a stark choice: stand perfectly still and let the old linear math crush you, or pick up these new tools and build your own ecosystem. True financial security now belongs exclusively to those who stop trading their time for a wage and start trading their time to build life. Historically, having a great vision for a business was the easiest part of the process. In the traditional startup ecosystem, that vision was a small fraction of what was actually required to survive. Launching a product meant hitting an immediate wall of friction. You needed significant capital to recruit graphic designers, copywriters, and developers before you could even test your idea in the market. This forced the entrepreneur to spend their time on manual labor and human management. You became a structural bottleneck, where the speed of the business was limited by your own physical capacity to execute tasks. That barrier to entry has recently vanished. We have moved into the era of the one-person army, where the old gatekeepers of capital and headcount no longer hold the same power. Traditional business plans are being replaced by a much leaner requirement for market entry. Today, you start with a clear vision and a specific prompt. Capital is no longer the primary limitation for innovation. The only remaining constraint is the scale of the entrepreneur's own perspective. Success in this new environment requires a conceptual shift. You have to move from being a doer, lost in the labor of production, to acting as a director who focuses entirely on strategy. Consider a creator launching a specialized fitness course for marathon runners. In the past, this would require a months-long production cycle. Now, ChatGPT handles the market validation and drafting of sales copy. It functions as a specialized researcher and lead copywriter, iterating on the messaging in seconds. Visual platforms like Midjourney or Canva AI act as your brand identity firm. They generate the entire aesthetic, from logos to course assets, without the need for an external agency. These tools replace the traditional production department, elevating the creator to a role that is purely strategic. Most people approach AI as a manual tool for one-off tasks. They use a prompt to write a single post, then spend their afternoon manually copying and pasting that content into different platforms. The advantage belongs to those who build systems rather than performing individual tasks. This is achieved through automation platforms like Zapier or Make. These tools act as a multiplier, connecting disparate AI programs into a single cohesive engine. The process begins when the creator inputs a single foundational idea into their digital system. That input instantly triggers the AI to draft a sales email and format a landing page simultaneously, moving the idea through 2 different channels at once. The system then continues the chain, generating a visual asset, scheduling a thread on Twitter, and pushing a formatted post to LinkedIn. This entire distribution cycle occurs autonomously. The system is active and reaching customers even when the creator is away from their desk. AI provides the power, but the automated workflow provides the transmission. It is what allows one idea to be translated into massive, scalable output. The end result of this workflow is a self-sustaining digital organism. It operates as a consistent presence in the market, rather than a project that requires constant manual effort. This micro-business sells and distributes products 24 hours a day. It handles the logistics of the customer journey without requiring human intervention at every step. We are seeing a shift in what it means to work hard. Economic leverage now comes from maximizing the efficiency of each hour, rather than simply increasing the number of hours worked. A single individual at a small table now has the same marketing reach and content volume that previously required a dedicated department. With these tools and workflows accessible to anyone, the barrier is no longer technical. It is time to step into the director's chair, input your first prompt, and build your system.
Okay, let's dive into this. For over a century, right since the very dawn of the Industrial Revolution, we've been handed this highly specific, deeply ingrained script about what success is supposed to look like. You know the one. It's a narrative built on factory whistles and assembly lines, which eventually just kind of evolved into cubicles and long commutes. The script basically goes something like this. Go to school, get a secure job, put in your 40 hours a week, and patiently collect your paycheck. And honestly, it feels safe, it feels predictable, but if you want to understand what true wealth actually looks like in our rapidly evolving modern era, we have to start by completely dismantling the illusion of that modern paycheck. I want you to think of a paycheck not as actual wealth, but simply as a receipt. It is merely a reward for your finite time. And here is the fundamental, inescapable flaw in that equation. You are biologically limited. We all are. You only have 24 hours in a day. You have a finite amount of energy and a finite number of years in a career. If your financial survival is tied directly to the clock, there is an absolute ceiling on your potential. So in this explainer, we are going to look at a profound paradigm shift, a complete rewiring of how value is created, distributed, and captured in the modern world. So let's step outside that old industrial paradigm for a moment. Just imagine the stark reality of trading your life away in hourly blocks. Working 8 hours to get paid for exactly 8 hours is a strict 1-to-1 ratio. The moment your hands stop moving, the exact second you clock out, your earning potential just completely flatlines. You are effectively renting out your life. Now flip that. Imagine the architect of a digital asset. Picture a creator who spends those exact same 8 hours building a highly targeted AI automated ebook or maybe a comprehensive online course. They do all that heavy lifting exactly once, but that digital product, it lives on forever on the global architecture of the internet. So while that creator goes to sleep in London, a student wakes up in Tokyo and purchases the course. A few hours later, a professional in New York downloads the ebook. That single asset might sell to 100 different people across 10 completely different time zones, all without the creator lifting another physical finger. The initial effort was totally finite, but the potential reach, the scale, and the financial return, those become absolutely limitless. So the crucial point is how we redefine what we are actually striving to achieve here. True wealth is not a higher salary. True wealth is built on assets. An asset is something you construct exactly once, you put all that intense focus, the strategy, and the effort in on the front end. But once it is built, it completely detaches from your physical presence. Consider the profound difference between a physical asset, like a rental property, right? You're dealing with maintenance, leaky roofs, tenant disputes, it's exhausting. Contrast that with a pristine digital asset. The digital asset just works autonomously, it continues to provide immense value to society and consequently income to you while you're sleeping, while you're traveling the world, or most importantly, while you are freeing up your mental bandwidth to focus on your next big world-changing idea. That's the secret. True wealth is the process of unlinking your physical time from your financial ceiling. Section 1, the asset revolution.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole shift. For centuries, securing generational wealth basically meant acting as a fierce gatekeeper of physical capital. If you wanted to build an empire, you had to acquire land, construct commercial real estate, or amass massive stock portfolios. And what did all of those require? Tremendous, prohibitive amounts of initial capital. You literally had to convince bank managers for million-dollar loans, rely on pristine credit checks, or just get lucky and be born into ancestral wealth. That massive barrier to entry kept the vast majority of the population permanently locked out. But wow, has the landscape transformed. Today, the highest leverage assets in the world have moved entirely from the physical realm into the digital realm. We are talking about things like highly specific ebooks, deep dive training courses, AI-optimized templates, and micro SaaS platforms. These are essentially small, highly specialized software tools designed to solve one distinct problem for a very specific niche of users. These modern assets are purely intellectual. They just require a laptop, a Wi-Fi connection, and specialized knowledge. They demand absolutely zero permission from a bank.
Section 2, the zero-cost catalyst. Zero. That is the new cost of creation. I really want you to just pause for a second and let the gravity of that single digit sink in. Zero. Throughout human history, producing anything of massive scale required staggering overhead. Think of the massive steel mills of the 1920s or the gigantic printing presses of the mid-century. They required sprawling factories, complex global supply chains, massive distribution networks, and immense payrolls. Today, thanks to the explosion of modern cloud computing and AI assistance, that massive financial barrier to entry has completely evaporated. Poof, gone. What used to take a multi-million-dollar factory can now be executed on a $500 laptop. The gatekeepers are entirely gone, and here's the absolutely most profound implication of this shift. When the cost of creating an asset drops to zero, the risk drops to zero. A failed experiment today is not financial ruin, right? It's literally just a deleted folder on your desktop. Failure is just data. This reality democratizes the creation of wealth in a way our ancestors literally couldn't have possibly imagined.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Consider the traditional product lifecycle inside a standard corporation. To launch a new software tool or a training program, you'd need to assemble a market research team, hire a senior copywriter, contract a graphic design firm, and retain a whole team of software engineers. You'd spend months in endless boardroom meetings just to get a working prototype. Now, watch the modern creator operate. It's wild. In a single morning, sitting at their kitchen table, they use an AI assistant to research a highly profitable market niche in a matter of minutes. Simultaneously, they prompt it to draft a comprehensive course outline. By the afternoon, they're generating stunning, conversion-optimized visuals for a sales page, and by the evening, they are having the AI write complex, functional code for a micro SaaS tool that solves a specific gap in the market. What used to demand a team of 5 highly paid specialists and 6 months of friction, you are now orchestrating as a visionary solo creator in a matter of days. It is a breathtaking time-lapse of productivity. Because of this zero-cost reality, your physical ability to produce content is no longer the bottleneck. It's just not. The sheer heavy lifting of manually typing out every word or coding every single line is handled flawlessly by the machine. So what actually separates the wildly successful from the unsuccessful now? Well, it's exactly this. You are limited only by your imagination and your ability to curate and innovate. In a world where absolutely anyone can generate 1,000 pages of text in a second, the core value isn't in the production itself anymore. The true value is in your specific taste, your unique vision, and how you expertly curate those infinite AI outputs to solve genuine human problems. Your mind is the ultimate asset.
Section 3, achieving infinite leverage.
We have to ask ourselves a fundamental question, and I want you to truly examine your own psyche and biases here. Ready? Who actually wins in this new economy? For generations, we've been deeply conditioned by the industrial age to believe that sweat inherently equals success.
We're taught that the person who grinds the hardest, the person who stays at the office until midnight, the person who sacrifices all their weekends, that's the person who ultimately wins. But in an era defined by infinite digital leverage and artificial intelligence, does that old, exhausting logic still hold up? The answer is a resounding no. The winners are absolutely no longer the ones simply grinding out the most hours. The winners of the modern era are the system builders. Think of it this way. If you're just working hard within a broken, unscalable system, you are essentially pulling a massive, heavy cart up a steep hill entirely by yourself. The absolute second you stop pulling, that cart rolls backward. The modern creator stops pulling the cart. They sit down and they build a combustion engine. You build the architecture once. Refining an automated customer journey isn't backbreaking manual labor, right? It's tweaking a landing page, it's A/B testing an email sequence, and optimizing conversion rates while the engine runs itself. You trade the sheer exhaustion of the daily grind for the elegant architecture of an autonomous system. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the core idea. Let the AI-powered asset do the work of 1,000 employees. Just think about the staggering magnitude of that leverage for a second. In a traditional corporate context, managing 1,000 human employees is an incredibly heavy operational burden. It involves endless HR logistics, complex payroll systems, office politics, communication breakdowns, sick days, and just constant immense overhead. Now imagine having the sheer productive output of 1,000 tireless, brilliant workers, but entirely encapsulated within a pristine digital asset that you have complete ownership of. AI agents don't sleep. They literally don't experience burnout. They scale instantly across the entire globe. That is the true promise of the asset revolution. You are the CEO, but your workforce is composed of sophisticated algorithms, digital products, and automated systems, executing your specific vision globally, flawlessly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Which brings us to our final overarching mandate: create value that scales infinitely. The profound tools to build autonomous wealth are no longer locked behind corporate gates. They are sitting right in front of you, entirely free to use, just waiting for your specific imagination to direct them. So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. Are you going to spend the rest of your life exhausting yourself by trading your precious finite time for a simple paycheck? Or are you going to step into the revolution and start building the digital assets that will work for you forever? The choice is entirely yours. Welcome to The Explainer. Listen, that whole get-rich-quick AI hype, it's a total trap. You'll hear wild promises of magic buttons and overnight millions. Don't buy into those dangerous illusions. AI is powerful, sure, but it simply can't replace human judgment, fierce discipline, and actual hard work. Forget shortcuts. Here's your definitive 90-day roadmap to actually pivot and thrive in this new economy. Days 1 to 30, it's all about AI literacy. Master the tools first. Seriously, don't build yet. So, the crucial point here is pushing those model limits to forge a rock-solid digital tool belt. By month 2, we hit the build phase. Now it's time for real, focused, professional action. Launch a micro asset fast. Trust me, being live out there matters way more than waiting for perfection. Now, what's really interesting here, once you're live, that market feedback loop absolutely dictates your success. Finally, month 3. This is where your focus aggressively shifts to operational efficiency and massive scaling. Systematize everything that worked, then boldly outsource those daily routine tasks right to your AI agents. Picture this, your digital team running daily ops, while you purely focus on visionary strategy. Incredible, right? The future doesn't belong to folks afraid of AI. It totally belongs to disciplined builders starting today.
And this brilliantly illustrates our point. The blueprint and tools are ready. Only one variable remains. That remaining variable, it's you. The new economy is absolutely waiting. So, are you in?